Hi Stitchers, it's the Crafty Curator, also known as Letitia. I just wanted to stop by and do a quick video, a little different than what I've normally done. And the reason why I'm prompted to do this video, some of you may know from my previous recordings, I've shared that I'm pursuing my master's degree. So it's getting around to the end of the semester. There's a lot going on, so I haven't had enough time, well, I won't say enough time, but I haven't had a lot of time to catch up on my stitching, much less my videos. And because I haven't had a whole lot of time to catch up on my videos, I haven't had time to reply to a lot of the comments that were left on my latest video. So first of all, I want to apologize for that because there were some wonderful comments that were left that I am going to reply to. It's just I've been caught up in my studies and my work and excuses, blah, blah, blah. So anyway, I noticed that there were a great deal of comments complimenting my Josephine Dorothy mirabilia, and I'll say a little bit more about that for those of you that are not familiar with what I'm talking about. But a lot of people have asked how I do the skin conversions, not just on this particular project, but the latest video rather, but on previous videos, a lot of you have asked me, and it's hard to describe when I'm typing, so I just wanted to make a quick video sharing with you what I've done to do my skin conversions. So first things first, well, number one, I'm going to reply to those comments. They might be 3 weeks to a month late, but I'm going to reply to them. And I appreciate everything that everybody is saying, that, you know, everybody says it, and I 100% agree. This community is so supportive and encouraging, and I just absolutely love you guys. I just am so proud to be a part of this community and that shares such a love for the same hobby and passion and addiction, you know. But anyway, this is Josephine Dorothy in all her glory. So you see, since my last video, I stitched a little bit on her bodice. Gotten a little bit done. I actually had all of this area filled in until, you notice how this gray is more of a charcoal and this is more of a lighter gray. I took number 317, which is, it's either the lighter or the darker gray. I don't even remember right now. It's 317 and 37.99. Both are shades of gray. And I took the 37.99 and wrapped it around the bobbin for 317. And I was stitching with 317, and then when it came to use 37, I was, well, what I thought was 317. And then when it came to actually stitching with 317, I was stitching the same color gray because I had, or 37.99, I was stitching with the same color gray because I had the other color wrapped around the wrong bobbin. So all of this variation and shading between the two was lost because all of this was the same color gray. This was filled in with this light color gray right here, this whole section right here. So I frogged down here where I had the darker or the lighter gray, and I frogged up here where I had the lighter gray and went back in and filled it back in, and I have to fill this area in with the lighter gray in the shading area here. So, but I've made a little bit of progress, but that's not what I'm here to talk about. Anyway, this is Josephine Dorothy, and most of you might recognize her as the Mirabilia design for At the Met. But she is more of an African American woman than she is the Caucasian woman that comes on the pattern. And the reason why I decided I wanted to change the skin tone was, number one, I love to collect patterns that celebrate ethnicity and culture. So I have Native American patterns, I have Hispanic patterns, I have African American patterns, and I have all this collection of ethnicities that are captured in cross stitch that are becoming more popular but have been very rare in the past. So I just started, anytime I saw one, I grabbed it. But this particular pattern, when I saw her, I loved the design. I loved the gown, I loved the hair, but what she reminded me so much of Josephine Baker. And the more I started stitching, I was like, she doesn't remind me of Josephine Baker. She's Dorothy Dandridge. So here we have Josephine Dorothy. So I've received a lot of comments on the skin tone and the blending, and a lot of people ask me, how did I do it? So I'm going to explain exactly how I did my skin conversions. When you look at the Met pattern, you see all the 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 coding, the key down here for what colors correspond with the symbols. So when I actually look at the pattern, it's very easy to tell which part of the pattern is your skin. So I went through, I first looked at wherever there was skin, and I put a small S on my pattern just to indicate, and I'm just going to say the numbers of the DMC floss, not indicate any symbols. So there's 5 different, 1, 2, 3, 4, yeah, 5 different skins, or 5 different colors that are used in her skin. And that's 356, 754, 758, 948, and 3778. So those are the 5 colors that are used in this particular pattern to create her skin. So when I went to Michael's or Joann's or wherever I went to get the DMC, I picked up those 5 skeins. And I started with the skein that was the color that was most prominent in the skin. And this is clearly the most prominent color is, according to this pattern, 948. So I can easily say that probably 90% of her skin is done in 948, while the rest are shading and highlighting colors. So I started with 948, and whatever shade that was, the other 4 colors are either lighter hues or darker hues. And depending on how much lighter or darker the other skeins were in comparison to the main color, that's how I chose the colors that I was going to use. So the colors that I used for her skin, and I knew this was going to come up, I should have had this prepared, and I'm sorry, I'm about to make a whole lot of noise because I have to look at my notes. One moment. So the color that I chose, which you can see is the main color, her chest of her arm, is 436. That's what I did for the main color for the African American skin tone. So 436 was going to be the same thing as 948, just in a different skin tone. So I started with that. So 436 is, like a nice caramel brown color. And then for the next color, it was either going to be a little more red, depending on the change in the tone. It might have been a little more red. It might have been a little more gold, or a little more rose as opposed to red. It might have been a little more yellow, just depending on whatever the variation was between the main color in the pattern and the next color. That's how I chose the next color that I was going to choose. So I just tried the best that I could to mirror the changes in hues and the changing in variation. So I'm not going to go from like 436 to 938, which is a deep chocolate brown. I'm going to go to another shade of a light brown, but it might be a reddish brown, or it might be more of a golden brown, depending on the variation in hues from the original. And I hope that makes sense. So the 5 colors that I used in my pattern were 436, 437, 434, 435, and then the last color was blended. So I used 2 of those colors together. I used 435 and 437 to make the 5th color, which was blended. And I matched that from what was in the pattern. One of the symbols in the skin tone was a blended, or 2 blended threads. So I did the same thing. And I think it came out pretty well. It doesn't look too choppy, and from a distance, I mean, it looks pretty decent. And there's 5 different shades of colors in her skin tone. The only thing that concerned me a little bit was her hand here. It looks a little bit patchy, but it's okay. When I look at the original, you're not going to see this. Or maybe you will. When you look, that's me. Wait a minute. when you look at her hands here, the shading is actually just as dramatic. It's darker, like in the right here between her thumb and her fingers, and then right there at her wrist, even under her arms and in her cleavage area right here. You can see that it gets darker on the back of her neck and around her hairline. It gets darker to accentuate the shading. So I just tried to mirror the same thing, and you can see that here I did the same thing. Right here it's a little bit darker around the hairline, a little bit of highlight on her cheek, and the same thing, the bend of her wrist, it's darker, and right here where we saw it on the original pattern, her fingers here under her arm and her cleavage. So because I did my best to match the color variations, I think that was the main key. And I have never done this before. I just did my best to match up the change in hues, and the way that the other colors went from light to dark and so on and so forth. But I think the key was matching it around that main color of the skin tone. So it worked out fairly well, and I think you could do that if you were trying to do any type of skin conversion, if you wanted to make the person Asian or Native American, whatever you wanted to do, or even if you wanted to make her look a little more Mediterranean with the olive skin tones, because in this pattern, she has more of an alabaster skin tone. She's very fair. So, it depends on what you want to do, but I think it's a fun way to get creative and make it your own. And I'm definitely loving the way that she's coming together. If you know anything about, Josephine Baker or Dorothy Dandridge, you can see that. You can see it in her, and I see it. Well, Josephine Baker was also known for wearing feathers and bananas, but when she, got dressed up and went out on the town, she was very classy. Dorothy Dandridge, forget about it. She was just a class act. So I'm enjoying this, and this is me paying homage to them, and it's just easily fitting into the types of patterns that I enjoy stitching. And I've never really stitched people. I usually stitch, I like abstract designs or geometric designs. Things are a little bit different. Excuse me, things that are a little bit abstract or different. I don't really go for people or the little cutesy designs, like little cute animals. There's nothing wrong with that. We all just have our preference. And I enjoy stitching things that are a little bit different. Things that I would love to see hanging on my wall, or things that just, patterns that just, kind of make you go, oh my God, what is that? You just want to stitch it. So that's my quick little tutorial, if you want to call it a tutorial. Just me sharing what I did, because so many people have asked, and it's just hard to describe when you're replying to a comment. So hopefully this will be helpful to any of you that want to try to do the same thing. Hopefully that will help you, and if you leave comments, I'll do my best to answer them quickly this time. I'm still going to go back to my old video and my previous video and try to reply to all those comments, and hopefully once school is out, I'll be able to stitch more. I'm actually going to plan to stitch tonight. I think I want to do a second video with my whips and my Happy Mail. I want to share that with you. But other than that, there was something else that I wanted to, I know what it was. It was this. I don't know if I'm allowed to do this, but this was in the back of my car, and I meant to post it because I saw that Trisha, the left-handed stitcher, I think it was her that showed this pattern. I think she showed this same exact pattern I can't speak, it's been a long day. That she showed the same exact pattern as one of her whips. And I've had this pattern for years. And when I say years, I mean, we're talking probably a decade. And it is a Dimensions Kit number 35176 called Oriental Orchids. It's a pretty popular pattern. So I'm sure you've seen it before. And this is how far I've gotten with it over the years. Let me make sure I show it to you correctly. Here we go. So I'm almost done. There's only, I believe, 3 flowers, if I remember correctly. yeah, I'm almost done. I have to finish up this border, do some more of the stitching in the middle, which is just half stitch with one strand of DMC, and then some, excuse me, some gold metallics, and then the branches just come up here a little bit. But for the most part, I don't have far to go at all. Not at all. There's the bottom of it. But here's the problem. And I'm hoping that one of you out there in Stitchy Land can help me. I'm going to show you the back of the pattern. This is what I have. This is what I have. Well, real quick. That's the pattern. The problem is, and I'm looking over here because whenever I record on my iPad, I forget to look at the camera, which is here. I end up looking at my image over here. I just look crazy just talking to you looking like this. Anyway, this is all I have. This one page. The problem is there are 2 pages. So on this one page, thank goodness, I have the color key for the 2 bundles that came with the package, which is fine because I can, you know, I finished the majority of the flower. I know what colors to use in the branches. But if any of you have this pattern, on the border there is a very bold and thick outline. I'm going to see if I can try to show this to you without giving away anything. This line right here, that bold, thick red outline, I don't know what color that is because I lost the second page. And the second page is only the bottom half. The second page is the bottom half of the pattern, which I've already stitched. I've already stitched all of this. So I don't need the pattern, but I still need to know what colors to use on this red thick border that's on the top half of the pattern. So it's a red thick border that's kind of jagged. Again, it's this right here. If one of you can just tell me or reply and tell me what color that's supposed to be, I would be ever so grateful. And then the little red music notes on the far, oh, nope, I have that one, I'm good. So what I need, I think I might just need to know what that thick red line is, and then the color, the thick blue line that's on the outline of the orchid, the very thick blue line. And then there's a very fine blue line that's outlining the leaves, and I believe those are, I don't know what they are. They look like olives. Do I have it in my pattern? I might have one. Nope, I don't. So it's basically the back stitching. I have no key for the back stitching. So it's a fine black line, a fine red line, a thick red line, and a thick blue line, and a thin blue line. So if any of you have the second page of this pattern, again, I have the pattern, I purchased it, I have the floss, I purchased it, and I definitely have stitched it. But if any of you have this and you could possibly PM me or comment and just let me know what colors to use for the back stitching, I might be able to finish this. Somebody told me on one of the Facebook groups to contact Dimensions and have them send you another chart. And I did try, but they didn't respond to me. And I don't want to buy another chart. I already bought it. And I'm just kind of stuck. So if nobody can help me out, I'm going to have to wing it. But if I don't have to, I don't want to. It's a beautiful pattern. I don't know why it's taken me 10 years, but it's beautiful. I'd like to finish it one day. So I just wanted to put that out there. This was sitting downstairs in the garage with all of my other, in the Crafty Curator Museum of Stitching and Supplies. It was just sitting down there, and I don't want it to become a UFO. I want to finish it. I need some help. So that's that. That's that. So I think I'm going to stop this now because I really did just want to use this video to tell you guys how I did my stitching and share my little plea for help. So I'm going to stop this video now. I'm going to maybe make another video so I can share my happy mail with you and share some of my whips with you, because as you've known, if you if you follow me on Instagram, the underscore crafty underscore curator, you will know that I am a serial starter and I have a problem. So even though I can't find time to stitch, I can find time to shop and buy more stitching stuff. So there's no method to the madness. It's just insanity at its finest. So that's all I have to say for now. But thank you guys for watching, and thank you in advance for anybody that's able to help me out again with the Dimensions Kit number 35176. That's the Oriental Orchids. And that's it. And I'll talk to you soon. Another video coming up. Thanks. Bye.